Morning, everyone. Kevin Smiley here, doing the Model 10 case study, Parent Apathy. And after looking at the story of Mrs. Rose at JFK School, the problem identification and analysis, to me, what do I know? I know that parent involvement is a great way to build the community and their involvement in schools, to get buy-in from parents, to get buy-in from students who feel that they are also represented by an adult in their building who's not their teacher. So I think that's very important. Parental involvement is necessary in order to understand the challenges faced by students outside of school. What do I know? First, that they have no current PTA or PTO, and the principal seems very reluctant to start a new organization. Second, the principal becomes willing to establish some kind of parent committee, or at least says he is, and I'll explain that further later. Third, we know that only 8 parents showed up to the initial meeting. And finally, to me, I believe we know that the meeting was poorly announced, only using the intercom once, informing the students to tell their parents a week ahead of time. I mean, we know that that's not going to get around to the parents well enough, and so I know that it was poorly announced, poorly planned on behalf of the principal. What do you need to know? First, I need to know why the previous parent groups were disbanded. Was it a lack of involvement by parents? Did the principal become fed up with extra work on his part? What were some of the reasons why there is no current parent organization? Second, I need to know if there are any legalities involved in beginning the parent advisory group with such a small turnout at the initial meeting. Is 8 enough to start such a thing, or is that too small? Third, I need to know the interest level of the parents to do the hard work of beginning the group with the goal of expanding it. With the parents that did show up, those 8, are they willing to start such an organization with the initial goal, probably the number one goal then, of making it bigger and getting more parents to sign up? Finally, I need to know why Mrs. Rose did not do more to announce the meeting. It was her idea to start such a thing. She believes she knows the importance of such a group, so why didn't she take further steps to announce it and get it known to the community that this was going to happen? Identifying the problem. The initial problem is that parents of students at JFK School are not represented in any way. When Mrs. Rose is attempting to solve the issue, the second problem is created, with the poor job done to notify the parents of a new opportunity to create a parent advisory committee. Finally, when the meeting is scheduled to begin, there is poor parent turnout, and the principal is already wanting to cancel the meeting. So there's the initial problem, and then a lot of problems come up from there. My proposed plan of action, strategies for implementation. First, I would call to order the meeting with the 8 parents who are present. Second, I would explain to them why they're there, thank them for being there, explain to them why they're there, what we hope to achieve with this parent committee, and the benefits that I believe it can bring to the school. Third, I'll answer any questions they may have, but finally, I'm essentially just going to work to reschedule a meeting that can be better planned, better announced, preferably within the next week, so that we can keep them on a current time schedule. I want to ask them to go out and tell their friends to come to this next meeting. I want to use a better modes of relaying the information to the community and get a bigger turnout and a better representation of the diversity of the community at the next meeting. Excuse me. Implementation. First, at the next meeting, I would hope for greater turnout. If it was poor, I would proceed from here with the initial goal being to increase parent involvement. Second, begin by creating a secretary position and establish group norms of behavior so that the committee can function as a mature and professional organization, just to establish that we're going to vote on things, that we're going to have the professional behavior, all those normal things. Third, I would share other action items that I have in mind and begin to get feedback from the parents, explain to them why I want to start this group, what I think that they can help with, and go from there, get the ball rolling. Finally, give those parents that are in attendance a chance to voice questions or concerns that I can begin to address at school. So my many ways to implement this new parent organization. Category 3, to resolve the issues based on promoting the success of all students. What is best for the students? First, to begin a new era at JFK School with an involved parent group for input and resources. That's important for all students, to have an involved parent group at the school. Second, important for students is to break from the initial meeting in order to try to get a better turnout at the second, better announced meeting. The initial 8 parents might not represent the school community or diversity very well, and that's one of the standards. I believe it's number 4 off the top of my head, of getting diversity in of the community. Third, establishing those norms of behavior to keep emotions and behaviors in check. As dealing with educating our children, there's going to be a lot of different ideas, different beliefs, and we don't want to start any fights in these parent issues and these parent meetings. I mean, maybe that's why the initial groups were disbanded in the first place. Who knows? Finally, I want to create roles of leadership for the parents in order to let them take ownership of the committee and make it functional. I want this parent committee to be work for the parents, not more work for myself. You know, as the assistant principal, I would help be the facilitator of the group, organize the group, provide meeting space for the school for the group, answer questions of what the school can do, those kind of things, but I don't want it to be more paperwork, more headaches for myself, and put some of that ownership back on them. Category 4, debrief the problem, what you were thinking, feeling, and valuing. First, I was disappointed with the principal for thinking a few parent contacts gave him a feel for the community and parent concerns as a whole. Second, I was glad to see Ms. Rose understanding the importance of parent involvement and for her to ask about it a second time after initially being turned down, not just giving up on that after her first questioning of the principal. Third, I feel the principal may have been disappointed in the past with the parent groups and does not want to experience that again. He's going on his emotions from the past and things that have happened in the past and is unwilling to try again. Finally, I was feeling that the principal was trying to sabotage the effort, really, by only having a single announcement and then wanting to cancel the meeting because of poor turnout. And I mentioned that somewhere at the beginning of this presentation, that I felt like he was not trying very hard to make this work. He kind of wanted to prove himself right. And at that initial meeting with 8 people turned out and then canceling it, he could say, you know, look, I told you this wasn't going to work. So I feel like he was maybe trying to sabotage that from the very beginning and prove himself right. Unresolved issues. First off, what to do about the 8 attendees and whether to proceed with the called meeting. Second, how to elicit better attendance at a later date. Third, the genuine desire for the parents in attendance to be part of such a committee. The announcement to the students was very bland and doesn't really tell them why they were there. Now that I'm going to inform them of that, do they want to be involved in such a thing? And finally, what goals does Mrs. Rose have for the committee in the first place? I feel like those could have been an important part of her convincing the principal to start such a thing. Category 5, reflecting on the standard 4. By working to create the parent organization with enough representation of the diverse needs and interests, I'm meeting standard 4. The initial turnout of only 8 parents is a positive sign with a lack of notification given to parents, but it is most likely not a true representation of the diversity of the community and their interests. Informing those in attendance of your purpose for the committee and your rationale for attempting to get a larger group involved should suffice them for showing up to the initial meeting. In order to get more involvement, I will mobilize community resources, also from standard 4, so that I can make more parents aware of the desire to start this committee and when we are setting the initial meeting. Radio and newspaper ads will be ran, printed flyers will be sent home with students, emails will be sent, and the district homepage will announce the upcoming meeting. So make it more aware for everyone to show up to such a meeting. Components: how did I collaborate with members to contribute to the school's success? By working to create a parent organization with proper representation, I'm working to collaborate with families and community members to guarantee the school's success. While we can get a feel for the community through our students, a more clear picture could be gotten from actually meeting with a parent group. I think that's proper grammar there. Within this group, parents could address policy and curriculum questions they may have. I could address school needs and potential resources they may know of. Component 2, how did I respond to the diverse needs and interests of the community on an ongoing basis? To meet the needs of the community on an ongoing basis, we would need to establish a meeting schedule, monthly or quarterly, to address concerns as they arise and are current. To be effective, the committee would need to physically meet. After each meeting, either the parent group or myself would most likely have a task to research and reflect on prior to the next meeting. So always try to leave the parents with something to do so that they feel the committee is important and necessary, that it's worth their time. Don't just schedule meetings, show up for 5 minutes, say we got nothing to do, and see you next month. To meet the diverse needs of the community, I would again postpone the beginning of the committee until more parents can come, elicit the help of local media outlets to announce the second meeting, and try to create a large group as the committee to get that diversity of the parents involved, to get a larger picture. Component 3, how did I mobilize community resources to address and help solve the problems? Community resources are all around us if you're just willing to ask. By calling the meeting in the first place, I'm getting the help of the parent resource to better our school. When turnout was low, I will use the resources of local media outlets to get the word out about our rescheduled meeting and its intent. Finally, word of mouth will spread about the school's new desire to reach out, and new resources will come forward on their own, whether it's alumni, grandparents, local businesses, etc. Those people, once they hear about this committee, will start to pop up of how can I help, what can I do, what do you need, those kind of things. And so using lots of community resources and mobilizing the community to help better the school. So that's all I've got, reflecting on the case study of parent apathy, and that's what I know. Good luck on your own.